Hi, this is Brian Koshley with AVRP Studios, and today we're talking to Julie Hirth as part of our celebration of Women's History Month.
Hi there, I'm Julie Hirth, and I'm an interior designer with AVRP Studios.
So Julie, tell us a little bit about how the design profession kind of surfaced for you as a young woman. What brought design to your attention?
It probably started when I was in elementary, middle school, that era. My parents added a second story to our house. So I really took an interest then as far as, watching the contractors, watching my dad work, how things are put together. I grew up really in a family of engineers, and I was always just interested in, how things really work. They made it look so simple and easy, and I just wanted a knack for that as far as space planning, and I loved drawing the little plans that went with it, so that kind of stuck with me.
That's really cool. That was actually my exposure too, was family remodels and family construction that kind of introduced me to architecture. Talk a little bit about your experience going to school, college. Was there a good mix of men and women in the program? Did you find it was leaning one way or the other? What was that experience like?
College was actually a very interesting story for me. I went into SDSU thinking I was going to become a doctor. I was thinking I need a steady job. I don't know if architecture or interior design will work out, so let's do biology. I was there for a few years studying sciences, chemistry, all of the above. And I just really didn't like it. It wasn't me. It didn't match my personality. I talked to a few friends who studied interior design, and they were loving it, and they were successful and had internships. And I took the leap and switched over. And in my program, it was mostly women. There were a few men, and they're still in the field and they're in town, and all of us are still in touch and successful. But my teachers were also a nice mix of men and women professionals out in the field. They either owned their own firms or they worked for firms in town with lots of experience. So it was very encouraging.
And that was the interior design program or environmental design program at San Diego State?
It was the interior design program.
Awesome. And what brought you to AVRP Studios?
Another funny story. I was looking for a change. I had been interning and then working at a residential firm that was just a handful of people. And I wanted more opportunities for commercial projects, bigger budgets, things that I could get more involved in. And I did what any sane person would do. And I Googled best architecture firms in San Diego. And AVRP popped up.
It's good to know. Good to know. And what's your favorite thing about working at AVRP Studios, or about AVRP Studios?
There's a couple things. Definitely the people. They make it worth coming in every day. I've built a lot of great relationships with everyone here. There's about 30 of us, and I feel like I know them all in some way or another, whether it's work related, because I can go to them with work questions, whether it's studio specific. They have experience working on lower education classes or government projects, or I'll ask them personal questions like, what are they working on at home over the weekend? And they'll give me advice on how to use a certain saw or borrow some tools. So it's a really great relationship there. Really just learning knowledge or gaining some experience from other people has been a big benefit.
So if I ever need to come and borrow some tools to work on the house, you're the woman to come to?
No, it's Craig.
Craig's the woman to come to borrow tools. That's so interesting. So if you could give one piece of advice to other women in our industry, what would that piece of advice be?
Get involved. There's several organizations throughout the city of San Diego, the county, really nationally. I was involved with a program for emerging leaders throughout this past year, and they plucked a nominated designer from each major firm in town. And we got together once a month digitally, but we covered business topics, construction topics. And that really helped the community feel a bit closer. So definitely get involved. As I mentioned before, ask questions, learn from others, and just get to know your colleagues and just people in the business outside of work, even though everyone has a busy life.
And if we had a time machine and the Julie Hirth of today could go back to the young Julie Hirth, not that you're not still young, and give her one piece of advice, what would you tell your younger self?
Don't take myself too seriously, especially being in such a creative world. You need to be a perfectionist at times, but not always. And as a wise colleague always says, it's easier or it's better to ask forgiveness than to request permission.
God, who told you that?
I don't know.
What
Some
an
guy.
interesting piece of advice. Forgiveness versus permission. That's my motto. So then finally, this year's theme for International Women's Day is choose to challenge. How would you apply that to your work or your personal life?
So I actually had to look this challenge or this quote up because I wasn't actually familiar with it and I feel kind of ashamed. So in a couple aspects. So I choose to wake up every day and dive into whatever, the day has in store for me. I could be stumped with a brain twister at work or stuck in unexpected traffic, but I try to take it with grace. And I know that things could always be worse. Of course, with everything going on regarding current events, I choose to challenge inequality, question stereotypes, and really just help forge an inclusive world, whether it's supporting small businesses or just lending an ear and being there for someone who needs it.
I really like that. That's, there's been a lot of discussions, I think, both on social media and also just in my personal life about the pandemic opening our eyes to inequality and to a lot of hurt and a lot of pain that so many folks are experiencing. So I like that perspective on Choose to Challenge. Well, thank you, Julie. I super appreciate you taking some time to talk to us. And since we sit right next to each other when I'm in the office, I'm sure I'll see you soon.
Definitely. Sounds great.
All right. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.